Throughout Hong Kong's history, lush subtropical woodlands have been logged or burned through periods of agriculture and war, resulting in the territory's famous early descriptions as a barren rock. Today, most of Hong Kong is forested again, though these are secondary forests that have been planted largely after the end of World War II. In the 1960s, fast-growing plants, including exotic species such as Taiwan acacia, were used extensively in these afforestation projects. These helped prevent soil erosion and established a canopy quickly, but they also suppressed the development of native plant communities and reduced the territory's biodiversity. It is not until 15 or 20 years ago that the Hong Kong government broadly implements planting programs aimed at thinning out aging exotic tree species and planting young native trees. But restoring native forests in Hong Kong remains a complicated project, both theoretically and technically. How can ecologists and landscape designers participate on this long-term project?
I'm Billy Hao. I'm a teacher in the School of Biological Sciences in HAU. I'm also a forester. I've been planting trees, reforesting hillsides in Hong Kong.
I also work with highways DSD.
Why is active management required in forest biodiversity restoration projects, and how do we define the degree of human intervention needed?
One thing about Hong Kong secondary forests is because after years of deforestation, many of the forest seed dispersal, they disappear. We have no squirrels, true squirrels. We have no forest rat species. So many of the canopy tree lightifications, they're not dispersed. The acorns are not eaten, not dispersed. In the past, we have this concept like when we go into a degraded site, we plant some pioneer first and then plant the sort of true forest species. In reforestation, whether you plant exotic or native, you form a canopy. But then there's no regeneration because the canopy cover is actually still pioneer species. The seedlings underneath the canopy cannot survive the shade. So there's no natural regeneration in a planted forest. We ditched that concept. So I want to try that experiment. But let's go in and plant forest forming species and see what it's like. So we did not have this pioneer successional concept. We just select what a forest should have in Hong Kong. So far for all the sites, maybe up to 10 sites I have, planting trees in Hong Kong, all native species. This site here you see is just one of the earlier planting sites I have. This one is now about 23 years and the canopy height is more than 50 meters, maybe 17, 18. So it's a pretty good examples of how reforestation can be done.
What was here before, and how did you get this project?
This is actually an illegal four-wheel drive site. So people ride four-wheel drive and bike, mountain bike. They're racing here.
I see.
And then there was a year, I think before 2000, maybe 97 or 96, one young kid was killed in an accident racing here. And because of this, government need to take over the place.
Yeah.
So they fence off the whole place, get people here every now and then, stop people racing. And landscape farm saying, we got to green this place, otherwise we have to be here every weekend. So they start planting trees. So that's why you see on the upper hillside is all reforest, including here. So green groups and us have been pushing that you should plant more natives. So that's why they allocate these 3/4 hectare for us. They're not convinced, so you do see a few exotic trees on the edge because they worry that all the natives inside will die. So after I finish planting, they plant a row of exotics along the road here as a backup.
Do you know what the water condition is on the site?
It's actually fairly exposed. When we came in, whole area got no trees. It's all barren with a little bit of shrub. You still see a kind of a gully here. When I came in, it's very badly eroded. So it's all very degraded soil because of all the motor vehicles racing. All the soil is light yellow in color. I still have those pictures. But now they're all sort of dark because of all the accumulation of organic matter.
What is your planting strategy here? What changes have you observed since beginning the project?
First of all, Because when I came in here, there was nothing, bare soil.
Yeah.
Okay, and we checked the stocks in the Kaduri Farm Nursery, and we select basically forest-forming species. I plant mainly native species, about 20-25 species mixed, and in 10 years we get a canopy of around 10 meters. I select a lot of the true forest species, mainly the Gacy tree, Phalaenopsis, Lithocopus, Cassinopsis, these three genus. And ever since I planted, I've done nothing except monitoring. We no irrigation, no fertilization, no watering, nothing. I plant denser than necessary. I plant at 1.5 meter spacing.
Okay.
With an estimation of 50% mortality, we still have maybe 2 meters. We also plant a little bit of Melotus, which is a fast-growing pioneer, and they were dominant in the first 10 years. But when we look at it now, they kind of disappear because of the competition. So the truly forest species are growing much better, and the pioneer like Lotus. When you walk into a denser forest in Hong Kong, basically it's dominated by Dicotea asiatica, which is a small shrub which can grow in deep shade.
Right.
So it's fairly typical. We do have some recruitment. So these are natural recruitment which are coming in, like this.
From seed.
These are the species coming from the canopy as well. You see a lot of seedling there, which we start to have this year. But whether the shade is too strong for them, we have to see. But the result is good in a way. So these snail species, it's interesting. We have 2 snail species on the tree. This is a true secondary forest native snail. This is the exotic giant African snail. These one occurring in here indicating that the forest condition is good. They are associated more with good forest. This tree, I like a lot. This tree is Cordia dichotoma. So basically in 10 years, they can grow up to 30 centimeters in diameter.
Wow.
This one is a very good tree, which I think should be used more widely in Hong Kong for reforestation.
How are the various planting stages and establishment works monitored? What was your process?
I did it about 10 years ago. I tagged the trees and measured them. And now I'm keeping records. But then that was a bit too late because the canopy is full.
Right.
We missed some important information. If we track every single seedling we plant, I know exactly the performance of each species and also the growth rate. The growth rate is more important. The majority is around 50. It's actually not bad.
Yeah.
So when you come in here, you don't feel that it's actually a sort of reforestation crop. It looks natural. The paint is the newest, so we know this is where we measure the DBH. We're now setting up this as a permanent plot last year. So we did it last year. So you see all the green paint. This is what we did. Now we have the protocol set up. We can monitor this for another 10 years or 20 years. We have all these numbers, which is an ID card number. We have a database set up. So with this number, we know exactly we are measuring the same tree, and we can follow it.
What should students learn from this? Based on your experience working with different government departments over the years, what are the main tensions between ecologists, engineers, and landscape architects?
The engineers are not the difficult parties to convince. They like to integrate ecology in their work. But when you come down to a specific area like in Hong Kong, if you want to promote biodiversity, you have to look at the native species. And I don't think landscape architects are trained enough to know the plant species, especially the native plant species, whether they're commercially available, whether you can produce them, how you produce them, whether these native species can actually grow in an urban setting. So all the engineers I'm working with, they're all designers. They they design the drawings, and then it's down to the contractor to implement. I mean, they put it in the design. When the design filtered into the actual work, contractors somehow ignore the design, or they come back with difficulties. For example, for plant species specified, they always say, oh, they cannot find it in the market, so they turn back to plant acacia and other things. I mean, you know, contractors in Hong Kong, they only want to get the things done, and they don't want trouble. And they don't want things, they don't want new things. They just get on with what they've been doing. So how to convince the contractor is the key thing.
Well, the thing is, for all the other sites I have, is basically if you plant proper seedling, that means nice grown nursery seedling. If you plant them properly, they grow. They're actually tougher than stuff. Many of the failure examples, I think the seedling quality is not good.
Yeah.
So if you've ever participated in a tree planting project in the government, seedlings coming from China, they were variable qualities. Some of them are very bad in quality. You can actually see the seedling is actually not grown in the nursery. I think it was dug up in the hillside, cut in the back, sent to Hong Kong, and pretended it's a seedling. When you open the back, it's irregular. I mean, it's very easy to tell whether a seedling is grown in the nursery or it's dug up from the hillside.
Yeah.
But you know, as a landscape architect, you must be brave. You have to check all the seedling materials coming in, and you have to return them if they're not up to standard.